All right, welcome to Notes 3.2 Part 2. We're going to go through using some of the models we just learned. All right, so if you look right here, I'm going to use the slide model. If I have 2 plus 4, I'm going to start at 2. And plus 4, I'm going to the right. So remember, subtractions on the left, addition positives on the right. So plus 4, I'm going to go to the right 4. So 1 whole, 2 whole, 3 whole, 4 whole. I'm going to be at 6. Okay, if we look right here, if I got 2 positives, all right, there's no takeaway, there's just 4 more positives, so altogether I got 6 positives. But let's look at this method right here. We got 3 using the slide way. We're going to start at 3, and it's plus a negative 1. So negative is left. So we're going to go to the left 1 and end up at 2. If I did the takeaway method, I'd have 3 positive, take away 1, I'm left with 2, right? If I did the put together method, I start off with 3, I have 1 negative, so I put it together, I'm left with 2. All right, so those are some different models we could use, all saying the same thing. Eventually, you don't need to do any of this, you just do it right in your head. Like you go 2 minus 4, you'll see in your head that the negative 4 is bigger, so my answer would be negative, right? And the difference between 2 and 4 is 2. The difference between the two. So they're 2 units apart from each other. All right, 2 and 4. All right, but let's use the slide method. We're starting at negative 4. Okay, so I'm starting at negative 4. Oh, I'm starting at 2. We can start at 2. My bad. Left to right, starting at 2. And subtract 4, so I'm going to the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and at negative 2. So 2 minus 4 is negative 2. For the slide method, again, starting at 8. Okay, so I'm going to start at 8. I want you to tell me which way we're going to go. All right, and this is a checkpoint in the video. Checkpoint in the video. I need you to ask for help if you're stuck, or show me that you got it before you move on, please. All right, this is part like 5% of your classwork points to get your A is showing me the checkpoints. Okay, some of you aren't doing all that, so I need you to stop right now, show me real quick, and then move on. Adding a negative is the same as, do you remember? Adding a negative is the same as adding the opposite, right? We're finding the opposite, all right? Look at the bottom, 3 possible meanings. I think you can find that using the notes you just took. I'd like you to do that and show me now, please. All right, using your notes for these, you should have found the first 3 things we wrote down in our last notes. Make sure they're listed here. I'm going to roll around the room and make sure you got that. If they're blank, I know you didn't look back at your notes you just took. Also, adding the opposite is the same as subtraction. All right, same as subtracting. So adding the opposite of a negative sign, though, just remember, adding the opposite of a negative, it will always be positive. All right, so minus negative will always be positive if you see that. Okay. I want you to try some of these at the bottom. You could just find the answer right away if you know it, or you can use a model. Okay. So if you're using models, if I have 3 pluses and 1 minus, how many pluses are left? If I have 2 pluses and 4 pluses, how many pluses do I got? Okay? So use those models, find the answer for that. Then you're going to flip it over. We're going to flip this over. And you're going to try a couple of the models. If you can find it right away, no big deal, but please draw out a model for these first 2 anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Draw out the negatives. Draw out the 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So there's the positives. You can do the takeaway method and find out how many's left. Samato. Okay, so we got S-M-A-T-O. All right, it just means subtraction means add the opposite. Okay? Add the opposite. All right, so A plus B is the same as saying, A minus B is the same as saying A plus negative B. All right, adding the opposite. Okay? So now you get your chance to try the slide model and show me how you're doing. Slide model, show me how you're doing. Tile model, we haven't learned that yet, but just use what we've learned so far. So adding the opposite, that's 3. Now what happens if adding the opposite, what happens in the middle here? Turns into a plus. So 3 plus 2. And then tell me what that is. Well, we can do it together right now. It's 5. 3 plus 2. We can handle that. All right. And then lastly, we have subtraction is adding the opposite. Subtracting a negative number has the same result as, what do you think? As adding a positive, right? Just like our notes, adding a positive. And that just means, folks, that a minus a negative, so subtracting a negative is the same as just adding a positive. So a minus minus is a positive. Opposite of a negative, that's how it's reading. Opposite of negative B is positive B. All right, so subtracting a negative is the same as adding. All right, so now you get the pleasure of working through this packet. As you get stuck, as you need some help, ask and you'll get it, okay? Look through your notes again if you'd like. But as you get things done, and I would say have us check it. Have a teacher in the room check it, see how you're doing, if you don't want to go too far ahead, okay? Great, take care.